Hello! So I'm going to do another video for you. This time it's a slow flow. How's everyone's hair doing, by the way? Mine's wild. So this one's a slow flow, so an opportunity to move into the joints and stretch into the muscles a little bit. You might need a couple of props if kneeling is uncomfortable for you, so I'm going to set that up before we start. And if kneeling is a no-go for you, I know for a couple of my students kneeling is problematic. You can do the kneeling section from a different seated position. So if you're happy to kneel but you need some props, here's some of the things you might use. So you could have a rolled up blanket and place that underneath the tops of the feet so that you've got a bit of support around the ankles. So that might offer a little bit more comfort. You could place a cushion underneath the bum, so on top of the calves and underneath the thighs, like that, or a combination of different things like that. You could kneel onto something softer than your yoga mat, so unroll your blanket and kneel on top of the blanket, or any combination of those things. So take a moment to just set yourself up into a workable kneeling position. And that's where we're going to start our practice. So coming to kneel on your mat, bring the hands into the lap. Lift up and out of the waist, so we find that sense of purpose through our posture. And some length in the back of the neck by just ever so slightly tucking the chin. And then we settle into our breathing. Take a deep inhale. And a sigh to exhale. And breathing in for 2, 3, 4, exhaling for 2, 3, 4, breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out. And one more breath like that. And inhale. And as you exhale, just drop the left ear over towards the left shoulder. So we're stretching out in the right side of the neck, softening into the top of the right shoulder. And staying there with that same sense of purposeful breathing. And then breathing in, bringing the head back to the center. And then tipping over to the right side, so drop the right ear down towards the right shoulder, softening through the left shoulder. Breathing in, bringing the head back to the center. Close the eyes if you don't have the eyes closed, or lower the gaze. Just take a moment just to notice yourself now. Notice the mood that you're bringing to your practice today. And with that observation, set an intention around how you would treat yourself throughout this practice. So if you're agitated, perhaps you need to offer yourself some patience. Not get too frustrated when you become distracted. If you're feeling a little bit low, then offer yourself some kindness. Make this a really nurturing, comforting practice. And then blink the eyes open. So coming to the back of your mat. You're going to just start to move the body gently through some salutations. So breathing in, lift up, so you're lifting up high onto the knees, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, bring the hands down to the mat and shift the weight forward so you're in a tabletop pose. Then we're going to carry on moving down towards the mat. So bend into the elbows, bring the chest down and bring the chin down. And then slide the tummy all the way down onto the mat. As you breathe in, lift the gaze, lift the collarbones, lift the rib cage into a little baby cobra. Exhale, press into the hands, shift the tailbone all the way back so that you're in a child's pose, stretching out in the back of the body, and then breathe in, come all the way back up, lifting all the way up onto the knees, reaching the arms up. Exhale, bringing the hands down, coming into that tabletop pose as we pass through that tabletop pose and then lower chest and chin down to the mat. Slide the tummy down to the mat and then lift into a little baby cobra. Exhale, press into the hands, shift the hips all the way back to your child's pose, stretching out the back of the body. And then we go again, breathing in, coming all the way up, reaching the arms up. Exhale, bringing the hands down, shifting forwards and through tabletop pose and then down towards the mat, chest and chin down to the mat. Slide the tummy down into your baby cobra, pressing the tops of the feet down to the mat. Exhaling, pressing into the hands, coming to your child's pose. And then one more, really thinking about breath and movement, breathing in, reaching up. Breathing out, moving forwards. Breathing in, coming into your baby cobra. Breathing out, shifting the hips back. And just staying in your child's pose, so make sure the forehead is in contact with the mat. If it's not, you can grab that cushion or anything else that means you can really release your forehead down so it's in contact with something. And take a moment to just pause there in child's pose. Yoga offers us space and time to better understand ourselves. We get to observe how we behave. We get to observe how our bodies move. And we get to observe how we feel about that. So we start to have a better understanding of our reactions, our responses. We get quieter. And that gives us an opportunity to see ourselves more clearly. Starting to come up from your child's pose. Bring the legs so that they're in a stag leg position. So the left leg is going to be bent with the knee slightly forwards of the hips and the shin and the foot pointing towards the back of the room. So the angle of that, the degree of that will depend on the mobility in your hip. The right leg is also bent, but with the shin crossing in front of the body. And we want to aim to have the hips, there's a slight lean over towards the right naturally. So we want to aim to bring a little bit of balance into the sit bones, into the pelvis. So breathe in from there, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. As you exhale, open the chest out towards the left and open the arms out towards the side. So one arm's reaching forward, the left arm's reaching back. Breathe in, come back to the center. Reach the arms up, exhale, open the chest towards the right. Right arm reaches back, left arm reaches forwards. Breathing in, reaching up. Exhale, moving over towards the left. Opening the arms. Inhale, reaching all the way up. Exhale, opening all the way out. 2 more each side. Breathing in, reaching up. Exhale, opening towards the left. Inhale up to the center. Exhale, open towards the right. Last one, breathing in, opening, lifting the chest. Exhale, opening to the left. Inhale, lifting back to the center. Exhale, opening to the right. Reach the arms back up to the center and then bring the hands down by the sides. Place the soles of the feet onto the mat. And then we're going to wrap the left arm around the shins. Knees are up towards the ceiling, knees are together. And we're twisting over towards the right. Place the right hand on the mat behind you and take the gaze over towards that right side. And just take a moment here in this nice, easy twist. Untwist, come back round to the centre. So we'll set the legs up again with the opposite leg in front. So this time the right leg is bent with the knee slightly forward of the hips, or maybe if you have more space in the hips, more mobility, it might be out further out to the side. And then the left knee is in front of the hips with the left shin crossing over in front of the body. So on this side the tendency is to lean over towards the left. So try and bring a bit more balance back into the hips. Breathing in, reaching the arms up. Exhale, opening out to the right. Inhaling, coming back up to the center. Exhaling, opening out to the left. Inhaling, coming up to the center. Exhaling, opening out to the right. Inhaling, coming up to the center. Exhaling, opening out to the left. Breathing in, coming up to the center. Breathing out, opening to the right. Breathing in, coming up to the center. Breathing out, opening to the left. One more each side. Inhale, come up to the center. Exhale, open out to the right. Inhale, up to the center. Exhale, opening out to the left. And breathe in, bring the arms up, come back to the center. Bring the soles of the feet to the mat. Knees up towards the ceiling, bring the hands down by the sides. This time we're wrapping the right arm around the knees, twisting over to the left, placing the left hand on the mat behind you and letting the gaze move over towards the left side. And just staying there in that simple twist. Bring all the way back to the centre. So coming back to cross-legged position, butterfly position this time. So bringing the soles of the feet together, letting the knees fall out to the sides. So the feet don't need to be super close to the pelvis. There can be a little bit of a gap between the pelvis and the heels. Find somewhere where you can sit quite comfortably and lift up and out of the waist. And I'm going to reach the arms out towards the sides. So without the hands down on the mat or holding onto the ankles, you might need to adjust your legs slightly. So lifting up and out of the waist and just noticing the effort that takes around the core. And then we might stay in our butterfly pose, Or for those of you that are quite comfortable and happy in open hipped poses, we might move this even deeper into our fire log pose. My mind went blank. Into our fire log pose. So if you're taking that option, we'll have the right knee closest to the mat. The left ankle is stacked on top of the right knee. The right knee is stacked on top of the left ankle. And again, if you need to grab your props or blankets or bolsters or supports, you might place those around your seated position where it feels like it's serving you best. So perhaps underneath that left knee, or perhaps underneath the ankles. Reach the arms back out again, take them wide. And then this time we're going to bring the arms into Garudasana. So we're going to bring the right arm underneath the left arm, cross at the elbows, and then cross at the wrists too, perhaps if that's available to you, or just keep the backs of the hands pressed towards each other. And then start to lift the shoulders slightly and drop the head so that the forehead can rest into the bicep, into the arms. And just notice that stretch around the backs of the shoulders, the backs of the shoulder blades, opening out around the hips and the backs of the hips. Releasing the arms, taking them wide again. If you chose the option to have the legs in fire log pose, you're going to swap the legs over so that the left leg is closest to the mat and the right leg is stacked on top. So rearrange your seat if you've taken that option. If you're still in butterfly pose, just stay sitting nice and tall. Reach the arms out, and this time we bring the left elbow underneath the right and press the backs of the hands together, or maybe we can cross at the wrists as well and press the palms together. Reach the fingertips up towards the ceiling and drop the head into the arms. So we get that nice stretch around the backs of the shoulders, the back of the neck. And release the arms, take the arms wide. And then we'll place the soles of the feet to the mat and start to lower ourselves down towards the mat. So bring the spine down to the mat, take the arms up towards the sides. And just take a moment. Take a moment there to pause and reflect. You can drop the knees in towards each other so that you can really let go in the legs. And like we've noticed ourselves at the beginning of our practice, notice yourself here. Notice how your energy might have shifted. Notice whether perhaps you've got more space between your thoughts. Notice perhaps you might have a bit more ease in the body. And I'll just start to wind down now by stretching out into the legs. So bringing the sole of the left foot to the mat, reaching the right heel up towards the ceiling. We'll keep this nice and gentle, but if you want to increase the intensity of this stretch, you might extend that left leg down the mat, so the heel's reaching towards the top of the mat, and you might walk the hands higher up the leg. and maybe even take hold of the big toe. But we want to find an intensity that means that we're working towards our edge, but not with so much force that it makes the body fight against us. So we want to find our edge, but with a sense of kindness and that playful working out where the edge really is and not stepping over it. So staying there for a few breaths. If you've got your left leg extended along the mat, bring that back in now. Place the sole of the foot down onto the mat. And we're bringing the right leg back down and placing the right ankle on top of the left knee and opening the right knee out towards the right side. And we're going to pick up that left leg, reach for the back of the thigh. And so we're just holding there and we're playing around with the edge again until we find the place that offers us a stretch in the outside of the right hip, so around the outside of the right thigh and the right hip. The left leg can be bent or straight. What we're interested in is finding that stretch around the outside of the right hip. And then bringing that left leg back down to the mat, bringing the sole of the foot down, placing the right foot down. Same thing with the other leg. So we're lifting the left heel towards the ceiling. A more intense stretch might be to send the right leg down along the mat and walk the hands higher up the leg. So take the option that works for you today, not the option that you wish you could do or that you want to do or that you used to be able to do. Really, really commit to the option that works for you today. And then if you've got that right leg extended, bring the sole of the foot back to the mat, and then we're dropping the left ankle onto the right knee, reaching behind the right thigh, finding that figure of four shape, and then drawing the right leg towards us so that we can find the stretch in the outside of the left hip and thigh. And again, the right leg can be straight or it can be bent. Find the option that works best in your body today. And then start to bring that leg down to the mat, the right foot down to the mat, the left foot down to the mat. Take the arms wide. You're going to drop both knees over towards the left. Keep the feet where they are, so there's a gap between the knees and a gap between the feet. If you want more of a stretch, you can bring the left ankle onto the top of the right knee, so that there's a little bit more intensity there in that, in this supine twist. So we're thinking about the space between the right knee and the right shoulder, and really moving into that twist. You can take the gaze over towards the right side. And then bring both legs back to the center, dropping the knees over towards the right side. And again, if you want to bring some more intensity to that stretch, you can lift the right ankle and place it on top of the left knee. So there's a little bit of weight through that left leg, providing a bit more resistance in that twist. And the gaze can drop over towards the left side. And coming back towards the centre. Bringing both soles of the feet to the mat, and then we'll set ourselves up for just a couple of minutes of relaxation. So if you've got a big cushion or a bolster that you want to use to prop yourself up with, or your blanket, it's really warm, but you might still want to place a blanket over the top of you just so that you have that sense of comfort. Set yourself up in a way that you prefer to let go. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, allow your body to just sink down. Feel weighty and heavy. And stay here for just a minute or two. You might want to pause the video and stay in Shavasana for longer, but we'll stay for a minute or two. And start to notice your breathing. Start to bring little gestures of movement into the fingers and the toes. And then turn that into more of a stretch through the limbs, more deliberate breath. And reach the arms up above the head. Stretch the legs out. And take a nice big stretch and then roll over onto one side. When you're ready, bring yourself all the way up to a seated position. Bring the hands into the heart center. Don't mind my dog. Lower the gaze or close the eyes. So when we give ourselves the time and space through our yoga practice to notice ourselves more clearly, we might become aware of our repeating patterns, our habits. And why those habits are negative or not serving us, we might have an opportunity to change them. It might not be an option to change them immediately, but as soon as we see our repeating patterns that aren't serving us, then we have an option to work towards change. And that's what yoga is. It's an ongoing journey to restore balance, to restore connection. Take a deep inhale. And a sigh to exhale. Namaste. I'm really sorry about my dog running in and out. I hope it wasn't too distracting. But that's the practice of yoga, learning to not get distracted. So there we go. Thank you.